Hey, what's going on everybody? It is Dyson from Subtle Cinematics, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down a hockey cinematic that we did for Jesse Gabriel. The basis and idea for this video was so that we could show off the two aspects of Jesse Gabriel's hockey training. And so he does off-ice stuff as well as he does on-ice stuff. So we really wanted to showcase some of the workouts as well as some of the stick handling drills that he has in his location. And then we wanted to show off some of the actual on-ice stuff. I'm going to share some tips as well for what we did for lighting, as well as kind of how you can go about filming anything with action and why you got to be looking forward to that kind of next movement that they're looking for so you can react quickly. So we're going to start this off by showing you guys the cinematic that we created, and we'll show it right now. Alright, so now that you guys seen the cinematic, we're going to go down and break through kind of what we did in certain situations as well as what we did for lighting so that you guys have an idea for what you guys can achieve with having good position lighting. So starting off, we actually used a haze machine for just about every single scene inside, and the reason why we did that is because we wanted to showcase the windows and the light coming through, as well as haze just adds a little bit more dynamic to your shots. It makes it look a little bit more atmospheric. Now I recommend haze over a fog machine for a majority of things just because fog is a lot thicker. Now you can use a fog machine and you just have to kind of fan everything out, but a haze machine kind of just gives you a nice good looking effect kind of right out of the machine. All right, so now we're gonna take a look at the lighting and I'll show you guys what I did just so you guys have an idea of kind of what I'm looking for when I'm actually using my lights and setting them up. So as you guys can see here, we have the Aperture 300D Mark II with a light dome as well as a grid. So we also had some windows that were high up on the ceilings that were bringing in some light this way. So that's the reason why I put the aperture on this side, just because when you're trying to set up your lighting, you want to look at your location first. Where is the natural light coming from? What's gonna look the most natural? That's how you get a cinematic look, is by having natural lighting. We also have a Luminate light tube. Now this Luminate light tube is super important because what it does is it actually gives us a bit of backlighting when we're shooting. And if you look at almost every single movie or high-end budget production, they almost always have some sort of backlighting. Backlighting is super key because it's gonna separate your subject from the background. If you guys are enjoying this video so far, make sure you guys drop a like as well as subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you guys are interested in practicing editing some raw footage and not having to go shoot, we actually offer raw footage packs on our Shopify store. Link will also be in the description below. Now I decided to go for no fill lighting, and the reason why I did that because this is more of a action dramatic type of sequence. I wanted to have a little bit more of a harsher shadow roll off rather than just having super soft as if it was like kind of a beauty type scene. So knowing what you're shooting and the look you're trying to go for beforehand is going to be super important in trying to help you guys figure out what's the best way to light a scene. All right, so the next tip I want to give out is to be getting different angles as well as different shot variations. If you're only sticking to one lens, that's going to give you big problems in the future because you're not going to get used to different focal lengths. Now for this shoot specifically, I was using the Tactina 11-20 as well as using the Sigma 35mm f1.4, and having those two different focal lengths are going to allow me to do different things. With the 11-20, I'm able to get wider shots showcasing the full actions, as well as when I switch to the 35, I can get a little bit tighter, get some more detail shots, which are really important. I find a lot of times people miss out on those detail shots, and those are great because they just show exactly what's happening and a little bit of a tighter look. For this shoot, I was using the Tokina 11-20 as well as the Sigma 35mm f1.4. And the reason why I wanted to use two different lenses was to showcase, with the Tokina, I could get some wide angle shots showcasing kind of the whole area, the setting, the scene, as well as with the 35mm, I could get up close and tight and get some nice cool shots showcasing the little details. Now, the little details are super important. I often see this go over missed. A lot of times people are too worried about trying to showcase, every single thing in frame, when sometimes it's better just to have one specific thing in frame. For example, as you guys can see in this little short part of the video, I'm getting a wide shot. So what that means is I'm showcasing everything that's around. So as you guys can see, I still have a bit of foreground that's gonna create some depth. That backlighting right here also gonna create some depth, as well as that haze is gonna add a little bit more dynamic to our shot, like I said earlier. And as you guys can see, this is the wide shot. So we're showcasing the whole entire body, pretty much what's actually happening in the scene. And then the next shot, we actually get into a close-up. And this is just a close-up of his foot here. So by having that two mix of shots, I'm able to kind of showcase everybody what's happening, as well as showcase the little bit of detail. It just kind of adds a little bit to your storytelling, as well as it helps with continuity in your shots. One thing that I wanted to bring up super quick here is, as you guys can see, I am using a Rode NTG3 microphone. And the reason why this is so important is because having sound effects can make or break your video. 50% of a video is actually sound design, and by having the microphone in camera, I can record sound effects while I'm filming so that I know I'm gonna get high quality sound effects that are realistic to what's actually happening. This is a great tip to have if you're a budget or beginner filmmaker, just because you'll notice having those sound effects is really gonna bring up your production value. All right, so we are now at location number 2, which is First Steps Wellness. And so we're actually gonna be using the Kaizen machine. So this is what we got for a lighting setup so far, is we have one aperture 300D with a light dome and a grid on there, as well as we're gonna have backlighting with another aperture 300D, nothing on it. And so we'll get some lens flares and some pretty cool stuff, because I'm gonna be shooting primarily off of this way, facing the lights. For this very first shot, we're gonna be shooting this at 90 degrees shutter. That's why it's gonna be a little bit more action-packed, be a little bit cooler than shooting in 180 degrees. Basically, we're gonna shoot at ISO 2000, f2.2, and our white balance is set to 4200 Kelvin. So we're just gonna get shooting, try to add some more depth, and try to see as much action as we can from this movement. All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, so some other tips for shooting a fitness cinematic or any type of hockey promo is just to be creative when it comes to your camera movements. You don't want to be going super still. For example, anytime he's doing any actions or movements, there's no point in having it the most still shot, because you want to feel like you're actually a part of that movement. You want to feel it as if it's actually a part of what's going on around in your surroundings. Another big thing that I did for this video shoot was to create a treatment, and creating this treatment was super easy. Basically just made it in Keynote. Here, as you guys can see, I have this whole treatment off of my phone. I'll give you guys actually a rundown on the screen now, so you guys can take a look at, see what that kind of looks like. As you guys can see, I can access this treatment off of my phone. I can see exactly what the kind of shots I want to go for, what kind of colors. That'll really dictate basically how I'm going to shoot these videos. I can refer back to these shots and see exactly what kind of shots I want to have, and that way, come shoot time, I'm already prepared. I know exactly what kind of shots I get. I don't have to be wasting any time. Oh!
Oh, now I'm just cold. Oh. Well, good thing I was recording. So this is the gear I'm using. I'm using the Zcam E2S6. I'm shooting a mixture of 6K 24 as well as 4K 60. I'm using the Rode NTG3 for sound effects in camera. The Atmos Shinobi so I can see what I'm actually doing and focus peaking, all that stuff. Smaller handle, smaller cage, Sony MPF 970 batteries, as well as the rails. I had a matte box on with the 35mm. Some big tips for these shoots is you want to get a mix and a variety between tight close-up shots as well as shots that are a little bit wider so that you can kind of showcase the environment so when people have an idea of exactly what's going on. And then as well with those tight shots, be right on tack sharp with your focus and it'll look just buttery smooth.
The next tip that we're gonna go over is what to do when you're filming an action sequence. A lot of times it's really easy to get lost in the action and you just kind of get overwhelmed or you don't exactly know what to film. This super simple tip is gonna help you guys bring your game up to the next level, and that is to look ahead of what's happening. You already know kind of an idea based off of your treatment, what's going on, but when it comes down to actually filming the actions, you need to have your head up while you're looking at the monitor so you can know exactly what's about to come so you can plan your movements based off of theirs. A lot of the times you don't have the ability to completely script absolutely every single movement. So what you gotta do is you have to improvise. And I'm gonna play this clip here and you guys can see exactly what I do and we're gonna break down and kind of give you guys those little tips that I have. All right, boom. And we're gonna pause right here. I wanna go over one little thing here. As you guys can see, I'm looking down at my monitor. It's super important to know what's in focus and what's in frame. So I'm making sure that my framing is correct and that my focus is tack sharp. What I do next is I look up. I'm looking at the subject to see, what is his next movements. I know that he's gonna come left here, so I can anticipate that for camera movement. All right, we're gonna stop right here. We're gonna look at this clip. As you guys can see, based off of the rule of thirds, things are looking pretty well exactly where I want them. And this is when I'm looking at my monitor, making sure that my framing and focus is correct. But this is also when I'm about to look up to anticipate his move. As you guys can see, he's on the right-hand side here, but I know he's gonna cross over left. So I'm gonna come over from the left side and go over to the right. And that's just gonna make everything a bit more action-packed. That's gonna wrap up this behind the scenes breakdown of this hockey cinematic. If you guys enjoyed this video, comment down below what's your favorite genre of video to shoot. Thank you guys for watching. This has been Dyson from Subtle Cinematics. Peace.